Well, it's that time of year again. Stacking wood always comes in August. 4 cubic metres of wood to stack. Doing it all on my own this year. My lads are all away doing things, so it's just up to me to stack it. I don't mind, I've got all day. Take it easy. Kind of meditative. I like to stack it as neat as possible. I'd probably just get away with throwing it in there, but I like it to look neat. Been thinking a bit about Brexit. I know it's old news now, but I'm still suffering from the after effects of it in a way. Just little things like, I used to have a residence permit for here because I'm married to a German woman. That all changed with Brexit. Britain's a third country now, or third land, foreign land, big foreign land, and I've had to go and get reprocessed at the migrants office, get my fingerprints taken, all new papers. This is a pain in the arse, really. When you think that, when you planned your life, thinking that this Europe thing was going to go on for a good few years, at least until you die or something, and then it all gets upset. Just little things like I still got my passport's still got time to run. It's an EU passport. I've got to renew it soon. I'm in a kind of a catch-22 situation, just for little things like I had to register a new SIM card. I went online to do it, and you've got to show a picture of your passport. And there's a list of what passport have you got: EU passport, non-EU passport. I've got an EU passport technically, but I don't know what it's classed as now. It looks like an EU passport, but I guess it's a British one now. Anyway, just to do this simple activating a SIM card is a catch-22. It's just because it was a non-EU EU passport, then there was no box to tick the country. It's complicated, but yeah, just idiotic, bureaucratic nonsense, which that was the whole idea of the EU, to cut out the red tape. And since Brexit, red tape is back in big style, and I just can't see who it benefits at all. Nobody. It makes you wonder if this whole thing. Well, let's go back to the reason for the EU was to stop mass genocides like the First and Second World War from happening. That was the basic idea of it, just to stop that happening again, and to facilitate communication between countries. And it took them, they've been working at it for 40 years. All them treaties sorted out, everything's sorted out. And it was real simple. And then, just because of some whim, well, I'll tell you what I think it was. It was when Merkel let all the migrants in from Syria, and the British saw that happening and saw that the Germans were letting them all in, and that means because of free movement they would all be coming to England, and that's the main thing why people voted out of the EU, because they were scared of migrants overrunning the country. That's my personal belief anyway. And yeah, it's a kind of mass psychosis. Just like the wars were mass psychosis when everyone decided it might be a good idea now to go out and kill each other. And the same with Brexit, it was a mass psychosis. And just little things like I went to the post the other day to send a little birthday present to my mum, and the post charges have doubled, and I had to fill out a load of forms saying what was in their customs declarations. A load of bollocks, all that didn't exist before. I don't know. All the stuff that was with pensions was all kind of shared out, and benefits, and it's just all in the bin now. It's all back to 1914. I think that's where we're going back to, 1914. Even some of my good friends in England, I couldn't understand it why they were voting for Brexit. It's sovereignty back, more control, and what's it led to? It's led to absolute chaos, really. And then COVID on top of it. The EU thing wasn't perfect. Just got to imagine it's like in America, if they decided suddenly to get rid of the United States of America and make each state a separate country, and with customs between them. No one would even think of doing that nowadays. I don't know what the agendas are. I just can't work it out. This is what I was saying about it being similar to a mass psychosis. It's just like it happened with the pogroms against the Jews, building up someone to be an enemy who you hate. And going back, it's something that seems to be in the psyche of the human condition. Going down, even the Middle Ages, they were scared of women, and they had all the witch trials. And you look at it these days and think, oh yeah, witch trials, totally, absolutely bonkers, crazy. But in them times, they thought they were being virtuous. Catholic Church, Inquisition, heresy, absolutely normal. And then when insanity becomes normal, that's where you got mass psychosis. I can only think at the moment this Brexit thing is a kind of mass psychosis. Either that or I'm crazy. I remember in the early 80s when all the businesses in the north, all the factories closed down, all the mines closed down, and there was fuck all for us to do there. And that's why I ended up in Europe. I was out looking for work. I was working anywhere in France, in Greece, bumming around, doing any sort of fucking migrant work that there was, picking oranges, cherries, pears, apples, grapes, everything. Because I just didn't want to be stuck in the north of England on the dole. And I didn't want to be living like that. I wanted to survive on my own. And that's why I kind of moved over to Europe. I've made my life here, even though I always kept my British passport because, well, I'm born British. I don't want to become a German. So I did what they said. I said, Norman fucking Tebbit, another fucking conservative, get on your bike and go and find something. So I did. But now I've been shafted again by the same fucking conservative wankers. Or maybe I'm just using them as a scapegoat. But I don't think so. I always talk about control, sovereignty. The only control they were worrying about is they wanted to have full control again, like the old aristocrats, about the EU being able to veto things. And it's going to go that way. Britain's going to go back to Victorian times and see it coming. It's like we're going back in time. Like I said, we're back at 1914, but we're going back towards Victorian times. Only the rich people be able to travel, privileged. And the funny thing, all that Brexit was touted with the words freedom. And the absolute 180 degrees opposite of freedom is what's going to happen. And it's depressing, really, isn't it? When you think about the tools they used to have for disseminating propaganda. So let's go back to the witches' time, witch trials, 1500s. Most people couldn't read. There was no newspapers. Only the clerical people, the churchmen, could read. And they told everyone what to think on Sunday morning at the pulpit. Told them all to burn the witches. And if something as primitive as that can stir people into madness, imagine what it's going to be like with all the tools that are available today. In the First World War, millions in trenches getting blown up. In the Second World War, and atomic bombs and pathy films. Even the propaganda's so primitive compared to what we've got today. We see what it can do. We see it in America with Trump, denying facts, denying reality. And the same happened with Brexit. Mass psychosis. And the mass psychosis of former times, periods of mass psychosis, will be nothing compared to what happens this time. Because people haven't got any smarter, they've got dumber, haven't they? In a way. People were always dumb. It's just how people work in crowds. And the crowd mentality takes over. George Orwell said it all in 1984. 2 minutes of hate. Yeah, now say it yourself. Shut up, you moaning old git. What's it with you? Fucking life's great. I can load as many music pieces as I want from iTunes. Fair enough, that's your opinion. But there'll always be people who are against it. And they might be in the minority. But they're the ones who stop the madness going 100%. Always be a break on the nutters. I'm not saying I'm smarter than anyone else, but sometimes I have a gut feeling that what I'm thinking is right, and I can smell a lie when it's in front of me. That's another thing with lies. They're becoming virtuous now. Look at the politicians. They lie without shame, don't they? And once things like truth start to break down, anything can happen. Anything at all. Anyway, enough of the moaning. Nothing worse than someone moaning all the time. Self-pity. It's nothing, brings nothing at all. Luckily I'm from Irish tinker, belligerent stock. A kind of mind that psychology doesn't work with. And I really fucking fight it. And smash them all in bits. This would be the neatest wood pile you've ever seen. They say that 20% of the population can be easily hypnotised almost instantly, and 20% cannot be hypnotised, and that leaves 60% who are halfway susceptible, halfway not. And all these forms of mass psychosis that I'm talking about, it's a kind of hypnotism. And I think I'm one of the 20% who doesn't get hypnotised. I'd be the guy who's getting his back stretched on O'Brien's bed. Winston. And the 20% who can be easily hypnotised, which I call the fucking thickos myself. They're the ones who never ever read a book and don't even know what 1984 is about. I think it's some science fiction story. Even the football, when you see the World Cup or the European Cup, you see how people get hypnotised, and they get hypnotised for fun, enjoying it, like drinking whiskey to forget the troubles. And they're screaming about the team, and then when the team loses, it's just suddenly disappears, all that furore about the football. Unless they're real long-time supporters, but like 60% are just going along for the ride. And those 60% who just go for the ride make the majority. And so if they go with the 20% who are easily hypnotised, then strange things happen. It's funny if you think about the army as well, people who are in the army, all that drill bashing and marching around, that's also a form of hypnotism, to take your own will away from you, make a uniform part of the crowd, all interconnected. I don't think even God has got any control over stupidity either. It's beyond everything, isn't it? Beyond any sort of control. We don't know anything really. Don't know what's going to happen. You could be looking at me saying, "Why are you piling all that wood up your mug? Why don't you just turn the gas on? Or the oil heater?" Everything comes with a caveat. Everything's got downsides. Like when I was saying about Europe, EEC, I thought it was something permanent. How do you know that next year the Russians might just say, "Look, Gazprom say we're turning the gas off," or the price is going up 500%. You've got no control over it, have you? Have to have another war. Beat them evil Ruskies. At least I know with the wood, it's partially under my control. Five hours in, almost finished. Isotonic, alcohol-free beer. one thing you notice about doing this wood every year. Once you get past 55, every year it gets a little harder. It gets a little harder. As well, I've been doing it on my own today. Usually I can rope the kids in to give me a hand, but they weren't here today. Just me and Ziggy. And it's been freezing cold summer. It's been wet and cold nearly the whole summer. And the day the guy rings up and says the wood's coming, I think this is the hottest day we've had so far this year. 29 degrees it is today. So, always seems like things work out that way, doesn't it? Or is it just coincidence? Oh, that tastes good. Even though it's got no alcohol, and you don't want to be drinking alcohol in this heat. Just purely isotonic, so you don't get a splitting headache. So 9 or 10 more wheelbarrow fulls and that does it. And we're all stocked up for this year again. Oh,